My question is to the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Senator Wong. In Senate estimates last June, the Coalition raised questions about education materials promoting anti-Semitism, glorification of violence and martyrdom being used in UNRWA schools. DFAT told the committee it had made representations to UNRWA about its neutrality and that, quote, UNRWA has contractual obligations written into its contracts requiring it to undertake due diligence and risk management activities. We work with them on governance mechanisms to ensure that they comply with that. Australia assesses UNRWA's performance yearly. Minister, how did you assure yourself that UNRWA had met its contractual obligations to not allow funds to support terrorism and extremism before you authorised the full $20 million to be paid by January 2024?
Thank you. Senator Chandler. Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. The first point I'd make to the senator is that UNRWA has been funded by Australian governments of both stripes since 1951 and is also funded by our closest partners, the United States, the United Kingdom and Canada. And we also know, and this is relevant, that currently about 1.4 million Palestinians are sheltering in UNRWA facilities. Thousands of its staff are involved in the humanitarian response. I would make the point that the government, as I said in estimates, or as DFAT said in estimates, that we have agreements with UNRWA that prohibit Hamas or any other terrorist organisations from receiving funding. These requirements are closely monitored and applied by DFAT. I also would say to you, and I'll provide further information when I find it, that a further consideration by the department did occur in the context, I think, of the 22-23 budget. What I would say to you is this, that there are two very clear facts about UNRWA. The first is that UNRWA is needed is the only organisation capable of delivering assistance into Gaza. And in a context where you have 400,000 Palestinians starving, 1 million facing starvation and 1.7 million people displaced, that does matter. Another irrefutable fact is that serious allegations have been raised, which is why the government has paused funding and is engaging with UNRWA and with partners, including in the context of the investigations.
Thank you, Minister. The time for
answering
has expired. Senator Chandler, first supplementary.
Thank you, President. Minister, reports of UNRWA staff members participating in the holding of Israelis taken hostage by Hamas on the 7th of October were public in December 2023. On the 19th of December, the Australian Jewish community wrote to you and the Prime Minister warning that UNRWA had been aiding and abetting Hamas, including during the horrific October 7 attacks. In early January, UN Watch released extensive materials showing UNRWA staff celebrating the terror attacks. Minister, what assessment did you undertake of this evidence and these warnings before announcing an additional $6 million for UNRWA on the 16th of January?
Thank you, Senator Chandler. Minister.
Thank you. Can I first go back to the question, the point of in the question that was first raised? I can advise that I received advice on UNRWA from my department last year prior to the disbursement of Australia's core funding for 23-24, and the advice to me, based on an independently audited review, was that there was no evidence that funds had been diverted, and that our key partners, including the United States, United Kingdom and Canada, who all fund UNRWA, held the same view. In relation to the letter of community representatives, I would make the point, I am aware of that letter. I do know these are not new views, that there are views that have been expressed for many years by individuals and organisations who do not support the Australian government continuing to fund UNRWA. By the time we received the letter, my officials had already acted on the issues it raised, which had been identified in a November report by UN Watch, as you said, and the Institute for Monitoring Peace and Cultural Tolerance and School Education.
Senator Chandler, second supplementary.
Thank you, President. Minister, your department told the committee last June, we are working with governance mechanisms to ensure that our funding goes to the right people. In October last year, you announced a total of an extra $25 million for humanitarian assistance in Gaza and the region, of which $12 million was to go to unnamed UN agencies or trusted partners to address needs. How much of this funding went to UNRWA, and how does the provision of aid through other UN agencies tally with the government's assertion that funding UNRWA is the only way to provide aid to the people of
Senator,
Gaza?
your time has expired. Minister.
I'll provide information about the October announcement. My recollection, it was UN organisations including UNICEF and also the International Committee of the Red Cross, but I will confirm the detail of that with you. Senator Chandler, I don't believe it is disputed that at this point, where we are in Gaza, that the UNRWA is the only entity on the ground at scale able to deliver aid and humanitarian relief. The Israeli government officials with whom I spoke would accept that. It may be that people don't like the entity, and I appreciate that that is where you are coming from, but I don't think it is disputed that there is no other organisation that is capable of delivering the assistance in that way. That is consistent with the discussions I had in Israel, consistent with the discussions I have had with officials of the UN and also the International Red Cross.